The massive vessel emerged from hyperspace like a wounded leviathan, its crystalline hull scarred and flickering with intermittent energy signatures that spoke of catastrophic system failures. Commander Krulax of the Zornak exploratory vessel felt the ship's desperation as acutely as his own mounting anxiety. Surrounding control panels pulsed with warning indicators, deep crimson and sickly yellow lights that mapped out the extent of their technological disaster. The quantum drive had been their most advanced piece of technology, a marvel of engineering that had allowed the Zornak to traverse vast interstellar distances with unprecedented efficiency. Now it lay in ruins, its intricate quantum lattice shattered beyond immediate repair. Krulax remembered the moment of failure with perfect clarity, a cascading system breakdown that began with a microscopic fracture in the primary quantum coupling, which rapidly expanded into a catastrophic chain reaction. His second-in-command, Vexna, approached with measured steps that betrayed her own internal struggle. The Zornak were not a species accustomed to vulnerability. Their civilization prided itself on technological supremacy, on never being caught unprepared. Yet here they were, drifting in an unfamiliar star system, their mighty vessel reduced to little more than a glorified life raft. "Sensor readings are conclusive," Vexna reported, her translucent communication implant flickering with each word. "We are approximately 2.3 standard galactic units from the third planet of this solar system. Preliminary scans indicate a technologically developing civilization, primitive by our standards, but potentially capable of basic communication." Krulax studied the holographic displays that surrounded the command deck. The planet below seemed unremarkable at first glance, a blue and green sphere with scattered landmasses, surrounded by a thin atmospheric layer. Conventional Zornak protocol would typically recommend minimal contact, perhaps a covert repair attempt or, if necessary, a complete system shutdown and waiting for retrieval. But they were out of options. The ship's emergency quantum resonance was failing. Each moment decreased their chances of survival exponentially. The crew of 247 Zornak scientists, engineers, and explorers watched their commander with a mixture of hope and growing desperation. Their mission, a deep space exploration of uncharted galactic regions, now hung by the thinnest of technological threads. "Prepare initial communication protocols," Krulax commanded. His voice carried the weight of generations of Zornak explorers who had never before been forced to ask for assistance. The universal translation systems began to compile their distress signal, converting complex quantum-based communication into something more rudimentary that the planet's inhabitants might comprehend. The first transmission was a careful blend of mathematical sequences and basic structural information about their vessel's critical condition. It was a cry for help encoded in the universal language of mathematics, a communication method they hoped would transcend biological and technological differences. As the signal broadcast, Krulax watched the planet grow larger in the viewing portal. Scattered orbital satellites and primitive space infrastructure became visible, crude by Zornak standards, but indicating a civilization on the cusp of more advanced space exploration. Something about the planet's chaotic energy signature suggested an unpredictability that both intrigued and concerned him. Vexna approached again, her bioluminescent skin pulsing with nervous energy. "Commander, our quantum reserves are down to 12.7%. We have approximately 47 standard time units before complete system failure. The probability of successful communication and rescue is currently calculated at 0.37%. Krulax knew what those numbers meant. They were essentially dead, waiting only for the final technological exhale that would transform their magnificent vessel into nothing more than cosmic debris. Their only hope now rested with a planet of strangers. The first indication of the alien transmission came through the International Space Monitoring Station at the Lagrange point, where Dr. Elena Rodriguez was completing her late-night shift. The signal was unlike anything she had ever encountered. A complex mathematical language that seemed to dance between multiple dimensional representations, challenging every conventional understanding of communication. At the European Space Agency's Central Command in Paris, Initial panic quickly gave way to scientific curiosity. The transmission contained intricate geometric patterns, quantum-based mathematical sequences, and what appeared to be detailed schematics of an impossibly advanced technological system. Dr. Marcus Hoffman, head of extraterrestrial communication research, called an emergency global conference within hours. "This is not an attack," Elena argued passionately during the emergency video conference that connected research centers across the globe. Her fingers danced across multiple holographic displays, breaking down the alien signal's complex structure. "These are distress protocols. They're asking for help." The military representatives remained skeptical. General Catherine Chen from the United States Space Force leaned forward, her expression a mixture of caution and barely contained tension. "How can we be certain this isn't some elaborate deception? We've seen enough science fiction to know first contact could go either way." Elena pulled up another series of projections. The mathematical sequences contained what could only be described as a vulnerability map, detailed information about the aliens' technological limitations, their current position, and the critical nature of their situation. "They're presenting us with their weaknesses," she explained. "No military strategy would voluntarily reveal this much information." Satellite tracking confirmed the massive vessel's position. It hung in Earth's orbital range like a wounded whale, its energy signatures flickering with an almost plaintive quality. International space agencies began coordinating their observations, setting aside decades of competitive research in the face of this unprecedented event. The United Nations quickly convened an emergency session. Representatives from every major nation watched in a mixture of awe and apprehension as the alien transmission continued to pulse through global communication networks. The mathematical language seemed to adapt, finding increasingly complex ways to communicate its core message: "We need help." Dr. Hiroshi Nakamura from the Japanese Aerospace Exploration Agency noticed something extraordinary about the transmission. "The signal is changing," he reported during a global briefing. "It's not just a static message. It's responding to our attempts to decode it, almost like it's learning our communication methods in real time." Within hours, preliminary translations began to emerge. The alien vessel identified itself as a Zornak exploratory ship, providing extensive details about its quantum drive failure. The information was so technically complex that it required collaborative efforts from the world's top quantum physicists, aerospace engineers, and mathematical linguists. Social media and news networks exploded with speculation. Conspiracy theorists battled with scientific experts, while the general public oscillated between fear and unprecedented excitement. This was no longer just a scientific discovery. It was a moment that would fundamentally change human understanding of their place in the universe. At the International Space Station, astronauts from multiple countries worked together to analyze the incoming data. The cooperative spirit was unprecedented. National boundaries seemed to dissolve in the face of this extraordinary communication. Elena Rodriguez found herself at the center of this global effort. Her previous work on quantum communication theories, once dismissed as too radical, now seemed prophetic. The alien transmission followed patterns she had theoretically proposed years ago, but never thought she'd see confirmed. "They're not just sending a message," she explained during a global broadcast. "They're extending a form of technological trust. These aliens are essentially saying, 'We are vulnerable, and we hope you can help us.'" As the world watched and waited, the alien vessel continued its silent vigil in Earth's orbital range, a testament to how a single moment of unexpected vulnerability could bridge unimaginable distances. The makeshift research facility emerged almost overnight at the Edwards Space Complex in California. What had been a quiet aerospace research center transformed into a global hub of unprecedented collaboration. Dr. Miranda Chen stood at the center of this extraordinary gathering, her mind already racing through the complex problem before her. Beside her, Jack Rodriguez adjusted his well-worn tool belt, looking distinctly out of place among the array of international scientists and engineers. A veteran aerospace mechanic with 30 years of experience, Jack had a reputation for solving impossible problems with nothing more than creativity and a comprehensive understanding of mechanical systems. The quantum drive schematics are unlike anything we've ever seen, Miranda explained, projecting a holographic representation of the alien technology. The image rotated slowly, revealing impossibly intricate quantum lattices that seemed to defy traditional understanding of physics and engineering. Their technology operates on principles we're only beginning to comprehend. An international team of quantum physicists, aerospace engineers, material scientists, and communication experts worked around the clock. The facility buzzed with a remarkable energy. Scientists from competing nations and rival research institutions now worked side by side, united by a single goal. Dr. Akira Tanaka from Japan's Advanced Research Institute leaned in, his fingers tracing the holographic projection. The quantum coupling mechanism suggests a form of entanglement we've only theorized about, he muttered, more to himself than to anyone else. It's not just a drive system, it's almost a living technology. Jack Rodriguez approached the hologram, his calloused hands moving with an unexpected gentleness. Where the scientists saw complex mathematical models, he saw systems, intricate networks of components that needed to work together. It's like an engine, he said suddenly, drawing curious looks from the assembled experts. Miranda turned to him, intrigued. What do you mean? Every machine tells a story, Jack explained, his voice carrying the confidence of someone who had spent decades understanding how things work. This isn't just a theoretical construct. It's a system with a purpose, with flow, with connection points. He pointed to a section of the hologram that the scientists had been debating for hours. See here. That's not just a quantum coupling. That's a stress distribution mechanism. The room fell silent. Scientists exchanged glances, realizing that the mechanics saw something they had missed in their theoretical approach. International resources converged on the project. NASA, ESA, CNSA, ISRO, space agencies that had once competed now shared every piece of data, every insight. The alien vessel remained in orbit, its condition growing more critical with each passing hour. The mathematical distress signals continued, now providing increasingly detailed information about their quantum drive's failure. Miranda began to develop a radical approach. Instead of trying to perfectly replicate the alien technology, she proposed a hybrid solution. We can't rebuild their quantum drive exactly, she explained during a global conference call. But we might be able to create a bridging technology that can stabilize their current system. Jack worked alongside teams of engineers, bringing a practical perspective that challenged traditional scientific thinking. Where theoretical physicists saw impossible problems, he saw mechanical challenges waiting to be solved. He began developing custom fabrication techniques, using a combination of 3D printing, advanced material sciences, and pure mechanical ingenuity. The research facility became a beacon of human potential. Young scientists worked alongside veterans, engineers collaborated with theorists, and practical mechanics found themselves in deep discussion with quantum physicists. National boundaries seemed to dissolve, replaced by a shared sense of purpose. We're doing something unprecedented, Miranda told Jack during a rare moment of quiet. We're not just trying to save an alien ship, we're redefining what's possible. Jack simply smiled, his hands already sketching out another potential solution. Just another impossible problem, he muttered, waiting to be solved. The first direct communication with the Zornak crew happened unexpectedly. As Miranda and Jack developed their hybrid repair approach, a quantum communication channel opened, allowing limited but direct interaction between the human team and the alien vessel's bridge. Commander Krulax appeared as a holographic projection in the research facility's primary conference room. His form was both familiar and utterly alien, a bipedal being with translucent skin that seemed to shimmer with internal bioluminescence, revealing complex neural networks and circulatory systems. Multiple eyes, arranged in a configuration that suggested advanced depth perception, studied the human team with a mixture of desperation and cautious hope. Your proposed repair methodology defies our computational models, Krelak stated, his voice translated through advanced linguistic algorithms that captured not just words, but emotional nuances. Our projections indicate a 99.8% probability of complete system failure before your proposed intervention could be implemented. Jack Rodriguez stepped forward, a custom-fabricated component in his hand. It was a marvel of engineering, created using a combination of advanced ceramic composites, quantum-sensitive nanomaterials, and a design that seemed to blend human mechanical principles with the alien drive's complex requirements. "Probability isn't certainty," he responded simply. Miranda explained the hybrid approach they had developed. Instead of attempting to perfectly replicate the Zornak quantum drive, they were creating a bridging technology that would stabilize the existing system. It was an approach that required unprecedented levels of improvisation and cross-technological understanding. The human team had discovered something remarkable about the quantum drive. Its fundamental failure wasn't just a technical issue, but a cascading system breakdown that resulted from an unexpected quantum instability. Where Zornak engineers saw an insurmountable problem, the human team saw an opportunity for creative problem-solving. International resources poured into the project. Manufacturing facilities around the globe began producing specialized components. The Chinese Space Agency provided advanced ceramic nanotechnology. European research centers contributed quantum stabilization algorithms. American aerospace companies developed custom fabrication techniques. Vexna, the Zornak second-in-command, watched the human efforts with increasing astonishment. Their approach violated every principle of Zornak technological intervention. Where her species would typically isolate and analyze a technological failure for cycles, these humans were acting, creating, adapting, improvising with a speed and creativity that seemed almost chaotic. "Your method introduces multiple potential points of systemic failure," she communicated, her tone a mixture of concern and growing respect. "By our computational models, you are introducing more variables than solutions." Jack chuckled, a sound that seemed to momentarily confuse the alien holographic projection. "Models are great," he responded, "but sometimes you need to get your hands dirty." The repair process became a global spectacle. Live streams showed teams of engineers working around the clock, solving problems that seemed impossible hours before. Social media buzzed with discussions about the unprecedented collaboration, with hashtags tracking the repair efforts becoming global trending topics. Miranda discovered that the quantum drive's failure wasn't just a technical issue. It was a complex interaction of multiple system components that required a holistic approach. Traditional Zornak engineering would have focused on isolating and replacing specific components. The human team saw the drive as a living, interconnected system. "We're not just repairing a drive," Miranda explained during a global broadcast. "We're having a conversation with an entirely different technological language." Custom-built fabrication units worked continuously. 3D printers capable of creating microscopic components ran at maximum capacity. Engineers from different disciplines, quantum physicists working alongside mechanical engineers, materials scientists collaborating with communication experts, created solutions that transcended traditional technological boundaries. As the repair process continued, something remarkable began to happen. The alien vessel's systems started to respond to the human interventions in ways that surprised both the Zornak crew and the human engineering team. It was as if the ship itself was adapting, learning from the repair process. Commander Krelak watched the ongoing efforts with a growing sense of something unfamiliar to the Zornak: hope. The cultural exchange began almost accidentally. As the repair process continued, the Zornak crew found themselves increasingly integrated with the human engineering team. What started as a strictly technical collaboration gradually transformed into something far more profound. Dr. Elena Rodriguez organized the first informal cultural interaction session. A small group of human researchers would rotate through the quarantined communication area, sharing insights, stories, and perspectives with the alien crew. The Zornak were initially hesitant. Their entire civilization built on carefully controlled information exchanges and rigid hierarchical structures. Krillax watched the first session with a mixture of curiosity and apprehension. The humans brought unexpected elements to their interactions: art, music, personal stories that seemed to have no direct technological or strategic value. A young engineer named Sarah brought photographs of her family, explaining the complex emotional bonds that connected human social structures. In our society, Vexna explained to Krillax during a private communication, such personal sharing would be considered a significant security risk. These humans exposed their personal histories with remarkable openness. The repair challenges became a backdrop to a much deeper exploration. Where Zornak technology relied on perfect mathematical precision, human problem-solving demonstrated a remarkable capacity for creative improvisation. Jack Rodriguez introduced the concept of jury rigging, a method of creating temporary solutions using available resources, a concept entirely foreign to the Zornak's methodical engineering approach. During one particularly challenging repair session, a complex quantum stabilization component failed. The Zornak engineers were prepared to abandon the entire approach, calculating the failure as an insurmountable obstacle. Jack and Miranda approached the problem differently. They began experimenting, combining materials in ways that defied the Zornak's strict technological protocols. "We're not just looking for a perfect solution," Miranda explained to the bewildered alien crew. "We're looking for a solution that works." The human team brought something unexpected to the repair process: emotional investment. Where the Zornak saw the ship as a complex technological system, the humans saw it as a living entity, a challenge to be understood and saved. They named components, talked to the machinery, celebrated small victories with genuine enthusiasm. Cultural exchanges revealed stark differences. Zornak communication was entirely based on precise mathematical and quantum-level information exchanges. Human communication included emotion, metaphor, personal narrative, elements that the Zornak initially found incomprehensible. A breakthrough came during a late-night repair session. Miranda shared a story about her grandfather, an immigrant who had worked as a mechanic, teaching her that every problem has a solution if you're willing to look at it differently. The translation algorithms struggled to capture the emotional nuance, but something of the story's essence came through. Krillax found himself fascinated by human unpredictability. Their approach to the quantum drive repair violated every principle of Zornak technological intervention. Where his species would create multiple redundant systems and mathematical models, the humans seemed to solve problems through a combination of intuition, creativity, and collaborative spirit. The repair facility became a microcosm of potential interspecies cooperation. Artists began creating visual representations of the repair process. Musicians composed pieces inspired by the quantum drive's complex energy signatures. Philosophers discussed the implications of this unexpected first contact. "They are teaching us something beyond technology," Vexna observed to Krillax. "Something about adaptability, about seeing challenges as opportunities rather than obstacles." The Zornak crew began to understand that human potential wasn't defined by technological perfection, but by their ability to connect, to imagine, to transform challenges into opportunities. Their rigid computational models began to shift, adapting to a more fluid understanding of problem-solving. As the quantum drive slowly came back to life, piece by improvised piece, something remarkable happened. The ship itself seemed to respond to the human approach, its systems becoming more responsive, more adaptable. Commander Krillax realized they were experiencing something far more significant than a simple technological repair. They were witnessing a fundamental reimagining of what was possible. The quantum drive repair entered its most critical phase, presenting challenges that pushed human ingenuity to its absolute limits. What had begun as a technical intervention had transformed into a profound test of human problem-solving capabilities. Dr. Hiroshi Nakamura discovered a critical quantum entanglement issue that threatened to derail the entire repair process. The Zornak quantum drive operated on principles that seemed to defy conventional understanding of physics. Its complex quantum lattice required simultaneous stabilization across multiple dimensional planes, a problem that would have been considered impossible by most scientific standards. "We need to think differently," Miranda Chen declared during an emergency strategy meeting. The conference room was filled with the world's top scientists, engineers, and the Zornak crew's primary technical team. Holographic displays showed intricate quantum matrices that pulsed and shifted with mind-bending complexity. Jack Rodriguez sat quietly, studying the displays. Unlike the other scientists who were lost in mathematical abstractions, he saw the problem as a mechanical challenge. He began sketching on a transparent digital pad, his hand moving with the intuition of someone who understood systems beyond their theoretical components. The Zornaks, second in command, Vexna, watched the human team with increasing fascination. Their approach defied every computational model her species had ever developed. Where Zornak engineers would create multiple redundant systems and exhaustive mathematical projections, these humans embraced uncertainty as a tool for innovation. "Your proposed solution introduces 2,347 potential points of systemic failure," Vexna communicated, her translation algorithms capturing both mathematical precision and a hint of genuine confusion. "By our computational models, the probability of success is less than 0.3%. Jack looked up from his sketches, a slight smile crossing his face. "Probability isn't certainty," he responded, a phrase that had become something of a motto for the human team. The challenge went beyond technical complexity. The quantum drive wasn't just a piece of machinery. It was a living system that responded to quantum-level interactions in ways that challenged fundamental understanding of technology and consciousness. Each repair attempt required a delicate dance of mathematical precision and creative intuition. Global resources converged on the project. Manufacturing facilities worked around the clock. Universities suspended normal operations, redirecting entire research departments to support the repair efforts. The repair had become more than a scientific challenge. It was a testament to human potential. Elena Rodriguez began to see a pattern that others missed. The quantum drive seemed to respond not just to technical interventions, but to the collective emotional and intellectual energy of the human team. It was as if the technology itself was learning, adapting in response to human creativity. "We're not just repairing a drive," she explained during a global broadcast. "We're having a conversation with a form of intelligence we're only beginning to understand." The Zornak crew watched in growing amazement. Their entire civilization was built on the premise of technological perfection, carefully controlled systems that minimized uncertainty. The human approach seemed chaotic, unpredictable, almost reckless. Yet it was producing results that defied their most advanced computational models. Krillax observed the human team with a growing sense of something unfamiliar to the Zornak: wonder. Their ability to transform challenges into opportunities, to see beyond rigid technological constraints, represented a form of intelligence that transcended traditional understanding. The repair facility became a global symbol of human potential. Social media platforms buzzed with live updates. Artists created real-time visualizations of the repair process. Musicians composed pieces inspired by the quantum drive's complex energy signatures. As the most critical repair phase approached, the entire world seemed to hold its breath. The quantum drive's stabilization would require a level of synchronized human effort unlike anything in recorded history. Jack Rodriguez looked at Miranda, a spark of determination in his eyes. "Ready to do something impossible?" he asked. Miranda smiled. Just another day at the office. The final quantum drive stabilization began at precisely 3:47 UTC, a moment that would be remembered as a turning point in human history. The repair facility had been transformed into a global nerve center, with teams from every continent working in perfect synchronization. Miranda Chen stood at the primary control station, her hands moving with a combination of mathematical precision and intuitive creativity. Beside her, Jack Rodriguez managed a custom-built interface that bridged human technology with the alien quantum drive's complex systems. The entire facility hummed with an energy that felt almost alive. Commander Krillax watched from the alien vessel's bridge, the holographic connection revealing every nuanced moment of the repair process. Vexna stood beside him, her multiple eyes tracking the human team's movements with an intensity that bordered on reverence. Our entire civilization's technological understanding is being challenged, Vexna communicated, her translator capturing both mathematical precision and emotional undertone. They are not just repairing a quantum drive. They are rewriting the fundamental understanding of technological intervention. The stabilization process required a level of global cooperation that seemed impossible just weeks earlier. Scientists from rival nations worked side by side. Communication networks that had once been used for geopolitical maneuvering now served as conduits for a unified human effort. Jack's custom interface began to show unexpected results. Where the Zornak computational models predicted catastrophic failure, human intuition found pathways of repair that defied traditional technological understanding. He used a combination of mechanical intuition, quantum theory, and what could only be described as creative problem-solving. "We're not following your technical protocols," Jack explained to the bewildered Zornak technical team. "We're creating a conversation with the technology itself." The quantum drive began to respond in ways that astonished both human and Zornak observers. It wasn't just being repaired, it was adapting, learning from the human intervention. Each repair attempt introduced new possibilities that the Zornak had never considered possible. Dr. Elena Rodriguez noticed something extraordinary happening at the quantum level. The drive's quantum lattice was becoming more responsive, more adaptive. It was as if the technology itself was learning from the human approach, embracing uncertainty as a form of problem-solving rather than a challenge to be eliminated. Global media captured every moment of the repair process. What had begun as a potentially catastrophic alien encounter had transformed into a celebration of human potential. Social media platforms erupted with support, with millions watching the live streams of the repair attempt. "We are witnessing something beyond technological repair," Elena explained during a global broadcast. "We are seeing a fundamental reimagining of what's possible when different intelligences collaborate." The final stabilization sequence pushed human technological understanding to its absolute limits. Miranda's team had developed a hybrid approach that combined quantum theory, mechanical engineering, and a form of intuitive problem-solving that seemed to blur the lines between technology and consciousness. Krillax watched in growing amazement. The human approach violated every principle of Zornak technological intervention. Where his species would create multiple redundant systems and exhaustive mathematical models, these humans seemed to solve problems through a combination of intuition, creativity, and collaborative spirit. As the quantum drive's energy signatures began to stabilize, something remarkable happened. The technology seemed to resonate with a form of intelligence that went beyond mere mechanical function. It was adapting, learning, responding to the human intervention in ways that challenged fundamental understanding of technological systems. The final moments of the repair process became a global celebration. Teams around the world cheered as the quantum drive's energy signatures normalized. The alien vessel, once on the brink of complete system failure, now hummed with a renewed potential. Jack looked at Miranda, a smile of pure satisfaction crossing his face. "Not bad for a day's work," he said simply. Miranda laughed, understanding that they had done far more than repair a quantum drive. They had demonstrated the extraordinary potential of human creativity, collaboration, and problem-solving. The aftermath of the repair transformed human understanding of their place in the universe. What had begun as a desperate attempt to save an alien vessel had become something far more profound, a testament to human potential that would reshape galactic perspectives. Commander Krillax requested a formal diplomatic meeting with United Nations representatives. The location was carefully chosen, not in a traditional government building, but at the Edwards Space Complex where the repair had been accomplished. The facility that had been a makeshift engineering hub now became the site of humanity's first official galactic diplomatic encounter. Dr. Elena Rodriguez and Jack Rodriguez stood alongside international representatives, their roles having transformed from technical experts to unexpected diplomats. The Zornak delegation arrived not as conquerors or distant observers, but as something closer to colleagues, a shift that surprised both species. Your approach to our technological crisis defies every computational model in our civilization's history, Krulax communicated, his holographic form revealing subtle emotional undertones that human translators struggled to fully capture. You did not see our technology as a problem to be solved, but as a living system to be understood. The diplomatic discussions revealed the true depth of the cultural exchange. The Zornak explained that most civilizations they had encountered approached technological challenges with rigid, predictable methodologies. Humanity's ability to combine emotional intelligence, creative problem-solving, and technical expertise represented something entirely unique. Vexna presented a comprehensive analysis of the human intervention. Their report detailed how the repair process went far beyond a simple technical solution. The human team had demonstrated an approach to problem-solving that integrated emotional, creative, and technical intelligence in ways the Zornak had never encountered. Global reactions varied. Some nations saw the encounter as a potential threat, while others viewed it as humanity's greatest opportunity. Scientific institutions began redesigning entire research methodologies, inspired by the collaborative approach that had saved the alien vessel. The quantum drive repair became more than a technological achievement. It was a global moment of unity that transcended national boundaries, cultural differences, and traditional scientific limitations. Universities worldwide began developing new interdisciplinary programs that emphasized the human approach of collaborative, creative problem-solving. "We are offering your civilization a unique opportunity," Krulax explained during the diplomatic meetings. "Most galactic civilizations we've encountered are evaluated based on their technological capabilities. You have demonstrated something far more significant: the ability to transform challenges into opportunities through collective intelligence." Jack Rodriguez, standing beside more formally dressed diplomats, seemed somewhat bemused by the entire proceedings. When asked to speak, he simply shrugged. "We just did what needed to be done," he said, a statement that somehow captured the essence of human potential more eloquently than any formal diplomatic speech. The Zornak proposed a comprehensive cultural and technological exchange program. They were not offering advanced technology as a gift, but as a collaborative opportunity. Humanity would be invited to participate in a galactic research initiative that valued their unique approach to problem-solving. Scientific institutions around the world began preparing for this unprecedented opportunity. The repair of the Zornak vessel had demonstrated that human potential was not defined by individual technological achievements, but by the ability to collaborate, adapt, and approach challenges with creativity and emotional intelligence. Elena Rodriguez reflected on the journey during a global broadcast. "This isn't about proving humanity's superiority," she explained. "This is about understanding that our greatest strength lies in our ability to connect, to imagine, to transform challenges into opportunities." As the Zornak vessel prepared for departure, it was no longer the same ship that had arrived damaged and desperate. Like the human civilization that had saved it, the vessel had been transformed, a living testament to the power of collaborative problem-solving. Commander Krulax made a final communication to the human team. "You have not just repaired a ship," he transmitted. "You have demonstrated a form of intelligence that transcends technological limitations." Humanity had taken its first true step into a larger universe, not through military might or technological superiority, but through the extraordinary power of human creativity, compassion, and collective potential.